Hey, it's me again. And I just finished reading this book that's completely blown my mind. Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. Seriously, it's not a normal story, but it's an epic tale of us, and it makes you look at everything differently. The book is basically split into four huge parts, each one tackling a big chunk of human history. Part 1, The Cognitive Revolution. Okay, so the first part is all about how we went from being just another animal to ruling the planet. The author, Yuval Noah Harari, says it all started around 70,000 years ago with something he calls the cognitive revolution. Basically, our brains got a major upgrade. We started being able to think in a new way, to create and believe in things that aren't real, like stories, myths, and what he calls shared fictions. Things like money, countries, and religions are all just stories we all agree to believe in. This is our superpower. While other animals can only work together in small groups, this ability to believe in the same story allowed us to cooperate with thousands, even millions of total strangers. This is how we were able to spread out and dominate other human species, like the Neanderthals. But our superpower has a super weird origin story, and it's all about our bodies. You know how human babies are born super helpless? Like way more helpless than a baby chimp or a calf. That's because of a really weird evolutionary trade-off. When our ancestors started walking on two legs, our hips got narrower to make walking more efficient. At the same time, our brains were getting bigger and bigger, which meant our heads were getting bigger. So we had a big baby head trying to fit through a narrow mom hip. It's a total problem, right? The solution our bodies came up with was to have babies prematurely, before their brains and heads were fully grown. This created a totally new challenge. A human baby needs a ton of care for years just to survive. A mom couldn't do it alone. She needed help from others. This is the biological reason we're so social. Our baby's helplessness forced us to create strong cooperative social bonds. We literally needed a village to raise a child. So our bodies forced us to be social, and then our brains gave us the tool, shared fictions, to make our social groups bigger and more complex than any other animals. It's like our biology and our minds work together to make us who we are. After that, things get even crazier. Part 2, the agricultural revolution, the greatest deception. So after we got all social and smart, we started farming, and this is where it gets wild. Harari says farming wasn't a good thing for the average human. He calls it history's biggest fraud. For most people, it meant way more work, a boring diet, and a higher chance of starving. But it allowed our species to have more babies, which is all that evolution cares about. It's a total reality check that the progress we think of as good for us wasn't always a great deal for the people living it. The focus on a few crops, like wheat or rice, meant we became super vulnerable to famine, and living so close together led to the spread of new diseases. This revolution was a giant leap for the species, but a step backward for the individual. Harari argues that because farmers needed to protect their crops and store their harvest, this new way of life created the concept of private property. This led to a huge increase in social hierarchies and inequality. It wasn't just about working harder, it was about a whole new, less equal social structure that we're still dealing with today. Part 3, the unification of humanity, the rise of shared ideas. So after farming, humanity started to connect. Harari says 3 big ideas got us there: money, empires, and organized religion. Money is the ultimate shared fiction. It's just a piece of paper or a number on a screen, but we all agree it has value. This lets a farmer in Egypt trade with a spice merchant in India without having to figure out how many jars of olives are equal to a bag of cinnamon. It's a universal system of trust that connects total strangers. This is also why we believe in things like companies and organizations. A company like Nike or Apple doesn't actually exist in the physical world. You can't touch it or point to it. It's just a legal fiction. A story we've all agreed to believe in that gives it the power to own things, make money, and hire people. It's just like money. It only works because everyone agrees it's real. Harari emphasizes that these three forces, money, empires, and religion, weren't just useful tools. They created a powerful, interconnected web that made it almost impossible for humanity to go back to living as small, isolated tribes. They essentially locked us into a single global system that's been growing more and more connected ever since. Finally, we get to the modern world, and this is where it gets really intense. Harari says the scientific revolution wasn't just about cool inventions. It was a total change in how we think. We started admitting that we don't know everything, and that admission led us to actively seek new knowledge. This new way of thinking, combined with the rise of capitalism, created a powerful feedback loop. Scientific discovery led to new technology, which led to new opportunities for profit, which funded more scientific research. This process has completely changed our world, giving us incredible power over the environment, other animals, and even our own bodies. He talks about how we now face big questions like whether we'll use our power to end death or create new forms of life. It's a powerful and a little bit scary end to the story. This new scientific worldview also led to the rise of what Harari calls a humanist religion, where people put their faith not in a god, but in themselves and their own ability to solve problems. It's like we've replaced old stories with a new one where we, as humans, are the heroes who can control our own destiny. This book is just packed with stuff like this. It makes you question everything you thought you knew about being human and our place in the world. Thanks for watching and listening, everyone. Please like and subscribe. See you in my next video.